Dogman was just out for a stroll, and they're like, "Hey, it's a werewolf." And he's like, "What the hell?"
Or the Dogman kills the human and puts on his flannel and goes running around.
Right.
And people think it's Gus, but it's actually the Dogman wearing Gus's flannel shirt.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Mondo Freako! Hey everybody, welcome to what we're calling the Mondo Freako Basement Tapes. The raw experimental conversations that actually sparked our show.
What you're about to hear is Rob and me riffing on all kinds of things. Bigfoot, alien visitations, shadow people, Mothman, whatever, before Mondo Freako was even a thing.
Think of it as a peek behind the curtain of where it all began.
Enjoy. Is Dogmen, is that the correct terminology here?
I've never heard Dogmans. That sounds a little bit weird. So I guess Dogmen or
Dogmen? Yeah.
A group of Dogman.
Yeah, or a pack.
A pack of Dogman.
Yeah, a pack of Dogmans.
Sounds like a cigarette brand or something.
Yeah, I'll take the Dogmans. I got a hankering for tobacco and fur. So last time we talked about
Mothman.
Mothman, yeah. I was just making sure you remembered.
Mm-hmm. I do.
I have a little more knowledge on the Mothman than I do on the Dogman off the top of my head. So, but this will be fun.
Yeah.
I do like a Dogman story, but I don't think that the Dogman story is quite as prevalent in the cryptid world, right?
Yeah, Bigfoot's the winner, I think, in that regard.
That's like the king, right? If we had to have a pyramid of cryptidness, Bigfoot would probably be at the top, and a lot of people love to talk about Bigfoot.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll eventually get around to that, but in the meantime, I would say in the lower part of the cryptid pyramid, possibly on not the lowest tier, that would be more like the Van Meter Visitor and the, what's the other one? The, I'm a blank on its name. It's also from West Virginia. He looks like a flickering candle. Anyway, I can't remember his name. That's how low he is.
A flickering candle.
Yeah, that's what it looks like to me.
I'm getting the character from, what is that, Beauty and the Beast?
That's right, Lumiere. Right, it's the Lumiere is all the way at the bottom. Be a guest, be a guest. Put our service to the test. I can sing the whole soundtrack.
You could.
I will either remember or look it up here in a moment.
Yeah, I need to be up to date on every West Virginia cryptid for sure.
So vamp for me and I'll tell you here in just a second. I can't remember.
Like last time, Bob, I've been doing a little bit of prep work here, been immersing myself in various Dogmen sites.
I got it already.
What is it? What is it?
The Flatwoods monster.
Oh, you mentioned that last time. Yeah,
I did. I could not remember Flatwoods. I was thinking it was some other kind of beast of some kind, but
yeah,
the Flatwoods monster is very low on the cryptid scale.
Right, a one-offer too. Right, it's
there's not been a lot of Flatwood monsters to speak of.
Repeat cryptid offender.
So I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Go right ahead.
No, I was vamping. I was just saying I've been immersing myself and listening to different Dogman accounts and reading up on some sites and trying to get good and faux knowledgeable as I can be about Dogman.
Yeah, I think faux knowledgeable is very good in the cryptid world.
Well, yeah, it's kind of hard to be anything else.
I would say Matt Moneymaker is very faux knowledgeable of Bigfoot.
Yep.
I think that we could have coined a word tonight, phonological. Phonological. F-A-U-X.
My doctorate in phonology.
Phonology, yeah. Now, there's a couple of different variations of Dogman. Did you know that?
I did. And what's the difference? Actually, you know what, Bob? Whenever you're ready, I've got a quiz I've put together for you to test your
well,
dog
let's
man.
out of the gate. Let's just do that before we learn anything.
Okay, so here's what I think.
This is our pre-test, right? And then we'll have a post-test.
Do a post-test, and we'll see how you score in both. I tried to rank these kind of in what I believe to be order of difficulty, and I'm going to just ask the question. If you want to go for it, go for it. However, we could go multiple choice. That's like tier 2, right? If you have no clue, I can give you multiple choice.
All right. I'm going to try to answer without multiple choice, though.
I like the confidence. In what area or habitat do most Dogman sightings occur?
My guess would be in wooded areas. I don't know if that's what you mean by areas, but wooded would be my guess.
Yeah, wooded areas is exactly correct. Usually remote. And then there's an extra part about this where they supposedly like to have access to water.
Yeah, all animals like access. I mean, typically, unless
like
you're an earthworm or something.
Well, they still probably like water, but just not a lot of it.
Yeah,
it's submersed.
It's in the ground somewhere.
I like a worm that way as well. I don't like.
Well, that's why they come out
submersed.
to the puddles, right? Because that's their access right there.
You know, when I was a kid, before we'd go fishing, my mom would spend the evenings watering the lawn with a hose so that the night crawlers would come out.
It makes it easier.
It does. They come right out of the hole.
Yeah, they can jump up at you
in their own way.
You get some of those aggressive ones, and man, watch out.
They can take a nibble out of your heel.
That's right.
Number 2, what breed of domestic dog do eyewitnesses most frequently compare the Dogman to?
I'm going to guess a German Shepherd.
2 for 2.
Yeah,
very impressive.
Guess, yeah. I wasn't totally sure, but that was what I think. Yeah,
I would say wolves which are not domestic dogs. Well, I guess in some instances people try to make them
domesticated wolf. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, and also sometimes Doberman, but German Shepherd is the prevalent comparison. Okay, this one's going to be it's a 2-parter. I tried to phrase it in a way that will make sense. So there's going to be a range of percentages.
Oh yeah. Okay, I'm going to get this one wrong. Go ahead.
Right. Approximately what percentage of witnesses mentioned that their Dogman had glowing eyes? And let's go in spans of 25, 0 to 25, etc.
I think it's 75. That's my guess.
No, surprisingly, a very small percentage, well below 25%. Yeah.
I was wrong into that one. Okay.
So I think this one has to be multiple choice because you wouldn't just get this one out of the gate. But of those that do report the glowing eyes, what color do they say these eyes are? Okay, so I'm going to give you four choices. Always green, yellow, sometimes blue, red, sometimes yellow, or a bluish white.
I am going to go with red, sometimes yellow.
That's exactly right.
Thanks. Do I get a whole credit for that or just a half credit?
75%. 3/4. Yeah, 3/4 credit.
Late night drive from Centerville as Sarah's auto climbed the hill. A crouching form her headlights did reveal.
All right. What area of the U.S. is the most common to Dogman sightings? Generally, what area?
Generally, I would say north.
A little less general.
The northern part of the Midwest, I believe.
Yeah, it's the Great Lakes region. Yeah, mostly Wisconsin,
okay.
Michigan.
I need to be more specific. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Ohio, some in Illinois.
Yeah.
Okay. So we've already
I already know more than I thought.
You may be getting that doctorate in faux
knowledge.
Faux knowledge.
Yeah.
So you know that the Dogmen are often seen walking on 2 legs bipedally, right? Or running sometimes. Yeah. What do many eyewitnesses say is different about the Dogman's legs relative to typical bipedal creatures?
Well, they bend the other way, so they're like dogs' legs, so they bend backwards compared to our legs.
That's exactly right. Do you know what that's called?
Painful?
It's actually it is. Well, depending on how your legs are built, I guess it could be very painful. But it's similar to a dog's leg, exactly. But what the bottom part of a dog's leg is, I gotta tell you, I've been doing my research, Bob.
Yeah, that anatomy. Yeah, you got me on this one.
So this is called digitigrade. And what they're essentially doing is they're walking on their tippy toes, right? They're on the balls of their feet and their toes. And that little backward part is actually equivalent to our heel and ankle. So it's like an extended foot, and they're just sort of walking on their extended foot. The actual knee is closer to the body. So I'd be very curious to see where the dogman's knees are, because for a dog, they're like kind of tucked up into their torso a little bit.
Right. Yeah, because they have like large haunches, so you really don't see the knee part. So
no. So
that's interesting. I never, now that you described it, I never really thought about it like that. But you're right. It's as if you were standing flat and then went on your tiptoes, except you had a longer version of that.
Yeah. Now digitigrade, and if
digitigrade, I never would have got that.
And then plantigrade, where you walk like we do, and the Bigfoots do. But as you were saying before, and I don't have a question about this, but apparently there are at least two different types of Dogman sightings. One with this dog-like leg, but then one with a more typical Sasquatchian leg. Yes.
Oh, I've never heard of that, to be honest with you. I've never heard that they had regular legs.
They compare them to Sasquatch, Bigfoot, except they have the snout and then the pointed ears on top of it.
That's weird. When I think of the Dogman, I always think of American Werewolf in London, which is a werewolf, which is kind of related to the whole Dogman thing. But the funny thing is people don't call them werewolves. They call them Dogmen.
Well, I'm going to jump ahead to a question here. Okay. This is going to be a difficult one. And this is going to be one of those where you had to write out the paragraphs when you got the question in school, and then the teacher would grade what you captured here.
Yeah.
What are the differences between a dogman and a werewolf?
Other than the digitigrade, plantigrade difference?
Yes.
I think werewolves are more wolf-like in the sense that their abdomen is not there, whereas a dogman is more man-like in its whole body, except for maybe the legs. They don't have paws, they have hands, or some semblance that looks like hands. It's always dark when people see these things.
Right.
And also I think that they have more of a torso, whereas werewolves are more wolf-like, where they don't have a belly or anything. They just curve big rib cage and into their hindquarters. And then also, I don't know that dogmen have as pronounced jaw. Werewolves are generally portrayed as having massive teeth, where I think dogmen seem to typically have more dog-like teeth. They are bigger, but they're not so prominent a feature. And then also the head's more humanishly proportioned. A wolf snout, it's much more slender, where I think the dogman, it's got a big head like a person.
She's slow to get a better look than true to the core was Sarah Shook, a symphony of screams and tire squeals.
Okay, interesting. That's how I'll respond to that. So
it's faux knowledge.
So in my very, very deep researching,
it took all week to do this.
Yeah, all week. You almost have the reverse here of what I've got. So we'll start from the highest levels. Like from a nature perspective, the werewolf will transform, right? It's human part of the time, and then it transforms into the werewolf. Whereas the dogmen are permanently canine. They don't transform back and forth. There's a lot of folks who believe that the dogman, similar to Bigfoot, is some unclassified animal, whereas the werewolf is sort of a folklorian type of an entity, and the dogman's relatively new. It's not just a new name for the werewolf. It's like, hey, this could be a cryptid as well type of a deal.
Or it could be a misrepresented dogman.
The werewolf could be?
Yeah. Maybe
yeah, sure.
Dogman was just out for a stroll, and they're like, hey, it's a werewolf. And he's like, what the hell?
Or the dogman kills the human and puts on his flannel and goes running around.
Right.
And people think it's Gus, but it's actually the dogman wearing Gus's flannel shirt.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of appearance, it kind of flip-flops from what you were saying. They're claiming that the werewolf is obviously a little more wolf-like versus canine-like, but may retain some human features, whereas the dogman is more dog-like, more upright posture. He's often much larger and more muscular and has a longer snout, whereas they're saying the werewolf retains more of that human morphology.
Well, apparently I haven't seen enough dogmen.
Well, Thursday is Halloween, so get out there if you've got any wooded areas near you.
Oh, I do. I live in a wooded area. Holy moly.
There you go. Do you have any house cats? Because I was just listening to an encounter where there's increasingly bring some house cats out with you and hang out by the wood line, and you never know.
Oh, I just saw yesterday. There's a cat that is living in the woods.
Well, there we go. You've got Thursday night set. Forget about giving out the candy.
Yeah, we don't get any trick-or-treaters this far out anyway.
Bring the phone with the camera ready, like we talked about last time. You don't want to be caught off guard.
Exactly.
Okay, very good. So I'll give you a D on that. You didn't fail,
right?
But you didn't really hit that one like the other ones you did.
Well, that was very complicated.
It was very complicated. Yeah, that wasn't a very simple question.
That was definitely an essay question for sure.
Yeah. We're going to go back now to one of the more simpler questions.
Okay.
Unlike dogs and wolves, what does the Dogman have at the end of his front legs / arms?
Digits? Is that what you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
I'd say like fingers.
And attached to the fingers, a palm, maybe.
A hand,
exactly.
Yeah.
There we go. Perfect.
Oh, I was going to the very tippy tip.
You were going too far down. And there's usually long curved claws too.
Yeah.
They talk about the claws a lot.
And then he usually has fingerless gloves, and he has a toothpick.
That's what he wears, his jean jacket. That's right.
That's right. The jean jacket that says Lone Wolf.
Okay, this has to be another one of the multiple choice ones. Otherwise, you're not going to likely get this one. But what are the most commonly reported fur colors of a Dogman?
Oh, let me guess real quick.
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
I'll just take a guess at it. I think it's red, gray, and brown.
Trade in the red for black and you're there.
Really? There was red in there. Oh.
I have seen a few. I had to go with what the data showed. And sometimes there's a touch of white. And I even heard one that had described like hyena speckled legs. Now,
really?
I bet you. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What did I say? Gray, brown, and black. Is that what you're saying?
Gray, brown, and black. Right. Sometimes described as silver. The gray is. All right, relative to other cryptid sightings, what's unique about the vibe / feelings that witnesses get after encountering a Dogman?
Other than terror?
Yeah, more so than just terror.
I would think there's a lot of confusion because you've seen something that doesn't make any sense. I would say there's a lot of confusion and thinking that maybe you didn't see it.
Yep. But I would say that probably also is true for almost any cryptid. Like if you saw Bigfoot, the thing that they call out, and I've noticed and was confirmed with my extensive research as
Did you do a telephone survey?
I was calling for hours, but no one's picking up because it's election season.
That's right.
They report a sense of menacing evil, or that the Dogman is projecting this desire to kill them.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. There's definitely sort of a evil dude hangover that seems to carry on with the witnesses. So when you go out on Thursday night,
right.
report back.
Okay. If I see anything, I can tell you, I haven't seen a Dogman yet, but this gets into Dogman territory. I have seen, and my family thinks that I'm nuts, but I was not too far from the house. I was driving, and I saw a wolf.
Oh.
Not a huge wolf. It wasn't a coyote, because I've seen a coyote, and coyotes usually look sickly. But this was a muscular animal, and it was not a German Shepherd. It was a wolf, and it ran across the road in front of me, and not too far from here.
We've got resident coyotes that now come into the neighborhoods. There's a river that's usually dry in the summertime. I don't know, half a mile or a mile from here. And I think they travel up the riverbed, but they'll come into the neighborhoods at night and they'll snatch up the house cats.
Oh, great.
Mm-hmm. But, that's a relatively new addition to the, are they the flora or they're the fauna, right?
They're the fauna, yeah.
Okay.
Like the faux knowledge.
The faux knowledge of fauna. All right. Shall we get back to the quiz? 2 more questions.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, don't apologize. So, what's the famous name the late Dogman reporter, researcher, and author Linda Godfrey coined for the Dogman that was seen around Elkhorn, Wisconsin in the late 1980s and early 1990s?
I think this is my favorite Dogman story.
Okay.
And is on my list of places to go.
Mm-hmm.
The Beast of Bray Road.
Exactly right.
Eventually, I will get to Bray Road. It's a ways away, but it's not too far.
Now, this last one, if you get this one right, then you automatically get 100% of the entire quiz.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay. In 1936, and this is what, 50 plus years prior to the whole Bray Road hullabaloo, Mark Shackleman reported seeing a Dogman-like creature digging in a burial mound near Jefferson, Wisconsin. Now, he heard this foul-smelling creature utter a word, supposedly.
Really?
What was that word?
I have no clue. I'm going to take a guess.
Mm-hmm.
Do I have a lifeline? Can I call a friend or anything?
We could go to multiple choice.
Oh, we haven't done that. Let's go to multiple choice.
Okay. The first guess is rosebud.
Okay.
The second choice is destiny.
Mm-hmm.
The third choice is Gadara. And the fourth choice is Shapoopy.
Shapoopy. Shapoopy. I'm going to say Gadara.
You got that right, and so you automatically win the quiz.
Destiny was the guy went to a strip club, and that was his favorite stripper. And then we know Rosebud is from Citizen Kane.
Exactly.
And Shapoopy, I'm trying to think of where Shapoopy's from, but
I think that's the Music Man, right?
right. Okay, that's right. I know I've seen it, but I couldn't remember where it was from. So, yeah, Gadara. You know, when you said Gadara, it clicked. So I must have read that somewhere.
Nice, 100%.
Jacob and his recent wife had just set up their camping site and decided it was time to get some rest.
Okay, so I also have a timeline I put together for you. Do you want to hear a timeline and how the Bray Road fits in to the whole Dogman scenario? Okay.
Now, actually, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go for it.
In the quiz mode here, before we get to timeline, I don't know if I can give you multiple choice, but I'll do it on the fly because I didn't prepare like you.
Okay.
Can you tell me the name of the Dogman of the South? There is a name for a specific cryptid that generally comes from the southern states, specifically Louisiana and Mississippi, in the swampy areas, and it's a Dogman, and he has a specific name.
I'm going to take a whack at this only because I was listening to somebody recounting a sighting, and he mentioned the term something like Slimfoot, Slackfoot.
I mean, that could be one, but that's not the one I'm thinking of.
Okay.
So, okay, your multiple choices are Slimfoot to get me out of the gate. Larry. Yeah.
Huh?
Rougarou and Kangaman.
I'm going with Rougarou.
It's the Rougarou.
Nice.
I love that word.
I've definitely heard that word before, and I'm sure it's been on encrypted shows, but I had not associated that with Dogman.
Yeah. Watch out for the Rougarou. You got to say it with a, kind of like that Cajun French.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're eating, what do we eat down there?
Jambalaya.
And the Rougarou's peering in the window.
We're going to have, jambalaya. Watch out for the Rougarou.
I am not about to try to do a Cajun accent for you.
If I had a harmonica, I'd start playing it.
All right.
So go ahead with the timeline.
The timeline. Sorry. This is important stuff. We need to cover all of these facts.
This is all phonology.
In order to truly give the listeners the kind of education that they're after.
Yeah.
Okay, so in 1887, this is the earliest reported Dogman sighting, and it was in Wexford County, Michigan. Lumberjacks encountered a creature with a man's body and a dog's head. Now, I'm assuming it wasn't a creature carrying a man's body and a dog's head. It was a creature that had a man's
juggling
body.
Them, yeah. No.
And this is specifically associated with the Michigan Dogman legend, which is across Lake Michigan from Wisconsin. And now we head into the one we've already talked a little bit about, where this Shackleman guy in Jefferson, Wisconsin, saw the Dogman like creature. He described it as a dog-ape hybrid standing over 6 foot tall, emitting a foul stench and digging in a burial mound. And that's where he said the word Gadara to him, or he heard him say, maybe he's muttering it to himself while he was digging. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe that's who was buried there.
Maybe. Or maybe it was like he was saying dig farther, and he couldn't form his words properly.
You would think that the Dogman, if he had a speech impediment, would be growling.
But Gadara has got a pretty good growl to it.
Gadara.
Gadara.
He was talking to Dara, his wife. He's like, Dara, bring me the shovel. I'm tired of digging.
All right, now we shoot ahead to 1964, where Dennis Fulis, do you know him? You live near this place, in Harvard, Illinois.
Harvard's a little bit more north, but yeah,
okay.
I know where Harvard is. Yeah.
Oh, do you? Okay, excellent. He observed a dark brown creature running across the road and jumping a fence. This is kind of like your wolf sighting, but I don't think your wolf was on 2 hind legs, was it?
No, it wasn't. He was running on all 4s.
Yeah, so this is another sighting outside of Wisconsin. So this is where we're getting the whole Great Lakes region going on.
Yeah.
And in 1972, the year of our Lord, a woman in Wisconsin reported an attempted break-in by a large unknown animal, and then later claimed that it returned and injured a farm animal. So this is about 15 years prior to the Bray Road cluster of sightings.
While dousing out the fire, poor Jacob did expire as 5 sharp-clawed fingers tore right through his chest.
In 1987, a Michigan DJ named of Steve Cook released a relatively terrible song called The Legend. I think he must have heard Convoy by C.W. McCall. Remember that guy?
Right, yeah.
And he had a good idea. I'm going to do one of these, but I'm going to do it about this Dogman creature.
Dogman.
I wish it was as melodic as that, Bob. It's really not. So he says that the song was fictional, but he does reference that 1887 encounter where the lumberjacks were poking the creature with a stick in a log or something like that.
Oh, I'm a Dogman and I'm okay.
But it apparently sparked some interest around that area in Michigan, and potentially influenced some of the sightings around Elkhorn, which is where Bray Road is located in Wisconsin. Yeah. And so that's where we get into the late 80s and 1990s, where we have these, and this is where you'll be going to, and I'm sure reporting back.
Oh, yeah. I will. I hope to go there maybe over this next year, so we'll see.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So numerous accounts describe encounters with a large, upright canine creature along Bray Road and the surrounding areas. In 1989, Lori and Drizzy witnessed a muscular beast with gray-brown fur kneeling on the roadside holding what appeared to be roadkill. Mm-hmm. Okay. And then Scott Bray, I'm assuming probably related to whomever the road was named after, a dairy farmer, saw a strange-looking dog, in quotes, in his pasture near Bray Road in 1989, so the same year as the last woman. Mm-hmm. Also that same year, someone named Russell Guest encountered a black and gray furred beast standing on its hind legs near Bray Road. Heather Bowie, you may have heard of her. She's an 11-year-old girl. Around Christmas time 1990, saw a large dog-like creature stand up on its hind legs and charge at her and her friends.
Oh, gosh.
Yep. Another dairy farmer, Mike Etten, in March of 90, spotted a dog-like beast eating something while sitting like a raccoon. And then Doristine Gibson in 1999, that's a pretty bit of a jump here, her car hit a large object on Bray Road. She then encountered a hairy figure, which later jumped onto her car trunk as she drove away. And so that's the high-level cluster of Bray Road sightings, point by point, coming from essentially 1989 through the end of the 90s, where they ended with that trunk jumper.
The trunk jumper.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was Chumbawamba's latest album called Trunk Jumper.
That's their comeback tour. Right?
I get knocked down. I'm a dog man. That's fascinating. The interesting thing about the Dogmen is that there's not as many sightings, right?
Mm-hmm.
And my question would be, do you think there's not as many sightings because there's not as many of them? Or do you think that sometimes the Dogman's on all fours and so therefore everybody just thinks it's a big dog?
Most of the accounts talk about it being over 6-7 foot tall, and some of them as heavy as 300, 400, 500 pounds. Again, I've been diving deep. There's this one Dogman Encounters radio podcast that has over 500 episodes. It's been going since 2014.
Holy, on the Dogman?
Yep, all on the Dogman. And the one
that's some OCD.
That is some sharp focus. He has faux knowledge, but there's one encounter where this thing came running and they said it was the size of a cow. This guy was driving a small car and he thought that the creature was likely trying to knock the car off the road so that it can get the yummy snacks inside.
Oh, yeah. Everybody knows.
Yeah,
VW Beetle has the best snacks. Yeah. Wow, that is as big as a cow. Well, maybe they confuse them as a cow when they're on all fours.
Maybe.
Prowling through our wooded lands, canine yet also a man. 7-foot tall Dogman stands. Will he strike again?
Okay, here we go. I have to put the big asterisk on these statements, and that now I'm forming a theory around something that who knows, it's a cryptid, right? But there could be credence to the concept that Bigfoot's been in mainstream Americana for how many years, since the Patterson-Gimlin film to some extent.
Right.
The Dogman is relatively new, and people still are very leery to come out and talk about their experiences. And so we may find over time there's a lot more of these, and so maybe 10 years from now they'll do some sort of exponential increase in Dogman sightings.
That's true. Yeah, because if you go around and you say, I saw the Dogman, the first thing you're like, yeah, you saw a dog.
Mm-hmm.
With Bigfoot, at least, there's not like a comparison.
Yeah, not a lot of apes, large apes, or gorillas.
Apes in the area. But with the Dogman, if it looks like a dog, they're like, yeah, it's a dog. But it was saying Gadara.
It was singing guitar while playing a guitar.
Guitar. So you're right. I think that this would probably have more stigma associated with it than Bigfoot with reporting.
Yes. Plus, I think people just get kind of freaked out about it. I've heard some stories about them following, according to the witness, they're seen then outside their homes, like they encounter them in the wooded areas and they go back and they're seen in their yard. There's a belief that they try to push this out of their mind, maybe more than they would. Something as calming as a Bigfoot sighting.
You mentioned that people have this kind of evil terror kind of feeling, whereas with Bigfoot, people don't always report that. They say it's scary at the moment, but they don't necessarily say that they felt it was emitting evil to them.
Intent to kill.
Yeah.
Right.
That may be a big difference there.
Yep.
Huh. I wonder, just given my short list of weird animals that I've seen, would at first not even know what the heck you were looking at, you know? Well, heck, I can't even get my family to believe I saw a wolf. And they supposedly all love me. At least that's what they keep saying. But I go, yeah, I was driving and this wolf ran across the road and I watched it go across the field and then across the road and across the field into the woods. And they're like, no, you didn't. I'm like, yes, I did.
So here's the typical physical description based on all of the different sightings that the AI that I use put together for me. I said, give me a typical sighting description. Creature is large, often described as being at least 7 feet tall when standing on its hind legs.
Yeah.
Many witnesses compare its size to that of a large bear. It's often described as being muscular or being built like a bodybuilder. It's covered in fur, usually dark in color, as we know, black, brown, or gray. Sometimes described as being patchy or matted. Those are the ones that don't groom as well.
Yeah.
Face resembling that of a dog, specifically a German Shepherd with pointed ears and a long snout. I've heard a number of folks mention the little tufts on top of the ears, you know, like the lynxes have.
Right, yeah.
They brought up that detail.
Huh.
Capable of moving very quickly, both on all fours and on 2 legs. Some see it jump incredible distances, maybe onto your trunk if you're driving by.
Just jumps on your trunk or tries to knock your Volkswagen off the road, whatever.
So this is back to the whole musical Dogman. This creature often makes vocalizations such as howls, growls, snarls, and even whistles.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I have a hard time understanding how a dog could whistle because of the way the lips don't really close that well. And the relative...
Maybe got a booger stuck. and it's really more of a nose whistle.
A nose whistle.
Yeah.
That could be it. Yeah. Many years of evolution so they could whistle successfully through their noses.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Usually sighted in nighttime or early morning. Rural or wooded areas, we covered that already. And then many witnesses describe a feeling of being watched or followed before actually seeing the creature.
Oh, really? So they have a weird sense that something is nearby.
Yes. Yeah. Some sort of a primal fear that's triggered.
I wonder if there's been studies on people walking in even familiar places during the day and then at night. And do you feel you're being watched the same amount during the day or versus the night? You know what I'm saying? Same area, same walk, same distance and everything, but you just change it from day to night and see if people experience that feeling of being watched more during the day or more during the night. I would say more during the night would be my guess.
Well, if I walk around my neighborhood during the day with my dog, I could just do a quick scan and I know if there's anyone or anything within 100 yards of me, all sides.
Right.
At nighttime, that's a different story, right? You can't really get that same sense of comfort.
But then would that trigger this? Because the weird thing is sometimes in the middle of the day, I can be someplace and know somebody's staring at me and turn around and see them. You know what I mean?
Do they have tufts on the end of their ears?
No.
So I have a personal story about the Dogman.
Oh, yeah. We'd love to hear this.
Well, I mean, don't get too excited. It's more just topical and happened recently, but I sort of cycled into my podcast listening sequence these Dogman Encounter radio episodes, and I'm looking up these different sites and getting a summary of the Beasts of Bray Road book, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm working this morning on my computer in my normal day job, and I hear howling sounds. So I turn on my computer and I listen. I don't hear it. I start working again and I hear it again. I take my headphones off. I'm like, that's my wife who was, about 10 feet away. I said, did you hear that? She's like, no. I said, I could have sworn I heard something howling. And it wasn't a coyote, right? Because like you said, they got those sort of yippy, yowly sounds. It sounded like a dog howling, but I know all the dogs in the neighborhood, and I don't think a dog's going to walk down the street howling typically. I was listening to a Gordon Lightfoot song. Maybe
Sundown?
there's some.
Was it Sundown?
It was not Sundown. It was the Minstrel of the Dawn, and
I'm not familiar with that one.
I've never heard a dog or wolf howling in that song. And then, actually, this is yesterday morning, and then last night I'm back here in my little podcast den, and my wife's in the other room, and she's like, "Did you hear that?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "I just heard some howling as well." So, all of my Dogman research appears to be attracting some sort of potential howling sound around my house.
You didn't hear Gadara?
I have not yet heard Gadara.
Right.
No.
Just checking. Maybe there was one slipped into the background somewhere. Gadara.
The phone's been ringing a lot. I don't pick up the landline anymore, so there's a chance that one of those calls might have been somebody gruffly saying in a Cajun pirate voice.
That's right. Gadara. You didn't have any sense of evil lurking, did you?
No sense of evil. No.
Oh, interesting. Just dogs barking.
Howling, not just barking.
Howling.
Howling.
Wow.
Yeah, howls. Yeah.
That's weird.
Mm-hmm.
But only since you've been researching.
I had never heard it before this, right? And
maybe it's kind of like that thing where when you get a new car and you think it's original, and then everybody else has got the same damn car.
That's true. Yeah, there's a lot of howling going on in the neighborhood. I just never pick up on it.
That's it.
Now my dog will howl at sirens sometimes.
You weren't listening to Warren Zevon, were you?
I was not listening to Warren Zevon.
No. He's got a few howling songs in there. That's interesting. So these things were howling at you. Huh.
Apparently, yeah.
Did you howl back? Or
I did not. No.
Didn't return the favor. Huh?
I did not. No, I still had to make sure it wasn't like some sort of an ear problem.
I need to get my ear trimmer out because.
That is the ear that I unexpectedly ran across a very rambunctious ear hair the other day. It's like, how did this one get this long so quickly? Yeah.
Demonic fur-covered creature, muscular, massive in size, scissor sharp teeth lying beneath his glowing eyes.
I have not had a Dogman experience other than the wolf. I wish well, maybe I don't wish I would.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is
it's
one of
like
those
an
cryptids
evil
I could
thing,
probably do without.
Yeah.
But I
I'll
think,
stick with a Flatwood monster. Yeah.
and you live in an area where the imagination can start going a little bit. I just go out into my backyard in suburban San Jose and I think about Bigfoots being, 10 feet tall.
Mhm.
I'm just picturing something like that looking over my 6.5 foot, 7 foot tall fence while I'm out there taking the dog, waiting for it to go to the bathroom. And
Right.
it's like, I don't even want to start picturing that too much because it's just a little bit freaky.
Yeah. The potential is there. The woods that are in my backyard stretch out and attach to other woods. So we're kind of at a narrow point in the woods. And by narrow, I mean not like a tree, but like, I don't know, quarter mile or something. And it goes back in there. You could follow it back.
You talked about the house cats that you're seeing. You just tie some fishing line onto the house cat and you let it go into the woods. And if you feel something tugging on it, just reel it in real fast.
I always think that I would love to encounter any of this stuff just because it's so darn interesting.
It's so interesting, yes.
But I don't know that I'm going to go to Bray Road at night. But I will go there during the day when I get up there. So we'll see.
Yeah, like I said, bring the phone and have the camera at the ready.
Yeah, we said it was eating something in the one thing, like a raccoon. I wonder what.
Right, like roadkill.
Yeah. Well, there's
or you
lots
could.
of that. So.
It's like chumming the water for sharks. Just get a bunch of roadkill and dump it on the edge of Bray Road and just drive slowly up and down.
Here's a possum and a skunk and a squirrel and
start saving it. Right, you're going next summer.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, we just had a skunk hit out front of the house, which was fantastic.
Yeah. You have an extra freezer in your garage or something?
Yeah. I don't have an extra one. The one we have is kind of too full, I keep saying, but no one listens.
You need a roadkill freezer in the garage.
Freezer?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I might be able to pick one up.
Yeah, rent a truck when you're going up to Bray Road and just start,
Yeah, I'm sure the residents along Bray Road would love me chucking out roadkill from 6 months ago.
If you do that, definitely record that part.
That's right. Wait till the cops show up.
You might not
I'm chumming for the beast.
Probably not the kind of encounter that you're looking to have, but you'll probably have some kind of encounter.
I can't believe you listened to this. It's been the Mondo Freako Basement Tapes. If you've enjoyed this glimpse into the origins, you're going to really want to check out the regular show. All kinds of weird topics, but maybe a little more polished.
You can find Mondo Freako on all major podcatchers and social media platforms.
See you next show.
You freak.
I have seen 3 things that have confused the hell out of me. A turkey, a beaver, and a fox that had the head the size of a basketball.
Thought of a good nickname for you, Doppelganger.
That's a good one. Thanks. I'll take it.
Yeah, you're the Doppelganger.
One of my favorite is Werewolves of London, right?
Right.
I saw a werewolf drinking a pina colada at Trader Vic's. His hair was perfect.